And we are live, Mommas with Commas.
I love
Chat
the
number
name. Yes.
five.
There's no better mama to be.
Right, right. Hello.
Yes, Corinne, thank you.
Look, a mama without a comma is stressed out. So we don't want to do that.
Yes, we need as many of them commas as we can possibly get. And that is one reason why we are here tonight. We are here to talk about goals, achieving them, holding yourself accountable, and making happen. So let's get to it. So let's start off with Miss Corinne. Introduce yourself and tell us where you from, girl.
So my name is Corrine Foster. I also go by Charisma the Queen. I once had a little singing career. I thought it was cute. I'm charisma all day, but I believe that we should call ourselves how we would like to be perceived so that people are not confused. So I refer myself as the Queen, not because I think I'm better, but because I know who we are. I'm from Brooklyn. Well, I'm from Queens, New York. I live in Brooklyn, New York. And I am the CEO and founder of the Queendom NYC.
Thank you so much. How can we find you? How can we connect with Queendom?
Queendom. So in terms of cyber, the internet, www.queendomnyc.com. I tend to exist more on Instagram. So
Okay.
I'm Charisma, CARIZMA_the_queen. And then the organization is Queendom_NYC on Instagram. And you can find me by my government name on Facebook, Corrine, CORRINE, Foster, FOSTER.
Perfect. And Miss Jasmine, where you at?
Hey, y'all. I am Jasmine Charmaine. Born and raised Houston, Texas. H-Town in the building.
Go Houston. Y'all hot right now.
I love Houston.
Savage.
Listen, right? We real hot right now. I can't do it. I'm trying to see. I tried to do it. I can't do it like she do it. But no, I'm from Houston. I am I'm a mom. I'm a podcaster for Living with Little Podcast. I'm an accountability coach. And then I also own my own cleaning company as well. So that's what I do. You can find me just like Corinne. I am all on Instagram. I have a Facebook child. Instagram is where it's at for me. So Instagram, Living with Little, that's LIVIN with Little. And then also on the web at livingwithlittle.com. And then you also can follow me or the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And that's the same name, Living with Little, LIVIN with Little.
Tell us a little bit about what Living with Little, what does that mean? Where'd you get that name from?
Gosh, so Living with Little. 2017 was the worst moment of my life. It was the lowest. Oh my gosh. When people talk about having like that bottom moment where like you're just like, I'm done type feeling, 2017 was that for me. That was my first time experiencing that in my life.
Okay.
And I remember like just crying in my closet, just praying to God. I was so angry with him. And I was just yelling and going off on God. And I just sat there for a while. I cried. I sat there for a while, and something was like, open up the Bible. I opened up the Bible to Exodus 4:20. And it talks about it. That was when I was telling Moses, like, this is what I want you to do. Moses was like, hey, hold on, wait a minute. I'm not really equipped to be doing all these things that you're talking about. And God pretty much told us, hey, whatever, cut that out. Yes, you are, And then he was like, what is that in your hand?
Right.
And he was like, a staff. And it's okay, well, use that. Take this little stick and use that. And so for me, immediately it clicked to me that, all right, so what God wants you to do is what, because there was so many things going in my head. And I was just so I was just such in like I was in like such a depressed state that I didn't believe what God was telling me.
Okay.
It's like he was saying one thing, but at the same time, I was just like, no, I can't. You know, I got daddy issues. This is what happened to me. I'm not that smart. I'm like all these things. I was like, no, you can't. I can't. You can't. So I was sounding like Moses, and I was like, God, you know, here I am sounding like Moses. And so when God said, you know, use what you have, use this, you know, what do you have in your hand? I thought, okay, what do I have in my hand? And it was like, this is what I have. God, I have a little. This is the little that I have. And then kind of just clicked to me. So I'm gonna start living with my little. And I kid you not, that moment I made that decision, my life changed completely. Like it literally turned around like completely. You know, like my life is more fulfilled today than it ever like has been. You know, and all this time I've literally been waiting, you know, for that right moment. I've been waiting to have, you know, the money. I've been waiting for the opportunity, and I didn't need any of that for my life to be fulfilled. I was looking for fulfillment, but God showed me like, no, I can give you that with your little.
With your
Give
little.
me what you have. Show up with what you have.
There you go.
Do great things with what you have, and that's what I did. And I was like, whoa, blown away. You know, and so that's where also my mission came from, because when I realized that, I was like, yo, I gotta tell people, like, wait, time out. Yo, y'all listen. You don't have to wait. No, your past it has nothing to do with where you're going. All you got to do is decide. And so that's when I just became like this big old cheerleader just for everybody. Like, y'all got to do this. Like, no, don't wait. That dream you have, go do it. Just do it. Go. You know, those excuses that we give ourselves of, I don't have enough, or you know, my people ain't never had, or no one has ever done this. I don't know nobody. I didn't know anybody doing what I wanted to do. You know, it seems so, you know, not traditional. I got a kid, you know, so he was like, what are you doing? Like, you need a job with benefits, work your way up to the top. That's not me. I'm not that girl. Like, I'm not. Don't box me in. So that's where it all started. That's where I got living with little from. And ever since that moment where I just said, yes, this is my goal. I'm gonna go get it with what I have in my hand, which is a little. And it's been enough. It's been enough for me. So that's all that came about.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
that was so important.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was super meaningful. So thank you so much. We right there with you. Better believe it. Better believe it. Shaniqua, you want to say a couple things? I know every time we come on, we'll share a couple new tips that we've been cooking in the background.
Right. Well, no, I just I'm glad that we were able to get you ladies to join us today. It's really important. I think today we're going to discuss a little bit about vision, having vision and speaking it into existence, and actually bringing it to a reality. And I think being moms, it's a struggle, but it's definitely worth it at the end. And we end up being an example for our children and helping them kind of cut the chain and alleviate the struggle. Because if you look at other cultures, they pretty much, when their kids get out of college, are pretty much set as far as to build their life, debt free, different things of that nature. So, and I just think it's the lack of education, and I just feel that's what we're doing. And so that's pretty much how we came together to build this organization, JourneyRight, to document your journey, right? Because it's your right on your journey. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'm going to go over to Toy and see if, I know you want to say a little something about yourself as well. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to bring some attention to the fact that this is our 5th Mommas with Commas live chat. And I am so excited. Like, I literally have people like hitting me up throughout the day, like, girl, I can't wait until the night. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch y'all. We have some really cool people on that's gonna be, checking us out tonight. from Cali. I know we got a real cool girl from Cali that's going to be checking us out. I'll mention what she has going on this Sunday online a little later at closing, but it's just so
It's dope.
exciting. I'm
It's
so
dope.
happy that like we've been blessed to bring you women together on a live forum and have these discussions, and then to be able to like chop them up, mix them down, repost them, create all this additional content that we post throughout the week that's so impactful, so that we can reach as many people as possible. I mean, we're reaching teens, we're reaching kids in college, we're reaching, you know, our mom's age women. I mean, everyone is just reaching out, and they're like, the information that you guys have and that you're putting out there is just phenomenal and amazing. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And please do not hesitate to share everything that you have going on, and so that we can continue to inspire.
Yes. And
So
I just want to say I like your painting, Toya. I want to just welcome our family chatting coming in. I think it's Tiffany. Your sister said I like the artworks, and I do like that painting back there, the elephant.
thank you. I ventured out to Home Goods. I had the mask. I had to follow the street signs in the store. I was like, this is nuts, but I did come out with a nice painting, so I felt super accomplished.
So
Yeah, you know, goals. So yeah, while we're talking, we'll definitely say hey to everybody that's popping in. Thank y'all so much for joining us, and blow them comments up, y'all. It be looking so good. It's like y'all had 105 comments or 108. Just keep them coming. Just keep chatting, and we'll hit y'all back and respond to the games. We have some fun games that we're gonna play tonight too.
Ooh, yay!
So we're gonna get started with the our memes.
Let's get started with our discussion.
Let's go.
And also, I don't know if you guys have your drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink, clink, clink.
And all right, so I'm going to ask this question towards Corrine, which I want to thank her for joining again. I've known Corrine for a while. We go way back. We go back in the day, right?
Yes.
So I'm so excited to be able to reconnect and have her join us today. So the first question I just want to talk to you about is goal-oriented communication. I know communication is like a big thing with us, right? Like we have different ways of communication, and sometimes some of us have difficult communicating. So can you just elaborate a little bit on that, on how you could be successful with positive communication?
I think that one of the main things that I preach a lot to the queens is that we communicate to give and receive information. I think a lot of times we get lost in communication as an opportunity to throw or to give our baggage or to set ourselves in a space emotionally. But the goal of communication is to give and receive information. So I think the first part of successful communication is to understand what we are doing when we communicate. We would like to put other stuff in it. We give attitude, we give emotions, we give feelings, but is that information that is going to change the narrative, right? Because while we are upset about so many different things that are going on in our personal lives, in our families, in our community, in our society, if we are not communicating information, how much further have we gotten? So when you look at the dynamics going on with this coronavirus, and we look at our president, Donald Trump, and his inability to give and receive information, it has left us in peril. Like we are in a really dismal space because he has the inability. He's constantly talking. He's constantly giving a show. There's nonverbal communication, there's verbal communication, there's all kind of types of communication, but the exchange of information is not happening in a manner that is sufficient in order for people to understand what the next steps are.
There you
go.
Right.
So especially as mothers, we are often put in positions where we're giving commands, right?
Yep.
We're not communicating. We're giving commands, but we're not communicating. And I know even for me being an extreme extrovert and working mom, right there, my oldest daughter, I have 6 children. So my oldest is 21. Then I have the 19-year-old, the 17-year-old, the 16-year-old, the 11-year-old, and then the 6-year-old, right? So that's 6 people, right? Okay. I don't know. I can't keep so
Girl, I know.
so it's 6 of them. And so with the Queendom, I do events. With the nonprofits, I'm in the streets. You'll find me and my VP on the corner, Picking Avenue, giving out fruits to kids. You'll at 6 a.m. with the police, engaging them with positive police relationships. You'll find us at the Dunkin' Donuts, feeding the deaf man or the homeless man, trying to communicate what he needs. You'll find us in the hospital, with women who have been abused and they're not being treated fairly in the healthcare system. In different meetings with all kind of organizational meetings. I'm meeting with the borough presidents. I'm meeting with the mayor's office. I'm at the African things at the mayor's mansion. I'm everywhere. So oftentimes I won't be in the house, and my house operates very well without me present. So when I came home during quarantine,
what's she doing here?
Right. They was like, go outside. They didn't know what I was doing. And what I realized is that I had lost communication with them in respect as the mom. I had full communication with them as the manager, as the CEO, as what I need done. Hey, I have an event. Can you go give me an outfit? I'm thinking about this color. Go give me that. Make sure this is happening. I got an email from the school. What's going on here? What's going on there? We were checking in as administrative assistant, executive administrative assistants, and we were going like that. But when I came into the house as mom, I started shouting commands and nobody was respecting it.
Right.
It's like, wash the dishes. Why isn't this done? Da, 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 da. And my daughter, very tactfully, because she's been trained by the best, okay? She decided to communicate via writing. Hey, I'm not washing the dishes right now due to ... Whereas I would have gotten upset, woke up because I'm on mommy commando now. I'm back mommy, right? So what I realized is that sometimes we have to not only think about what information are we giving and what we are able to receive. Sometimes when we start shouting commands and giving emotions, we're not able to receive the information that may counter everything that we're feeling. There may be relevant information that is available to us, but because of the way we're delivering and communicating what it is that we're experiencing or what we need done, we're not able to receive on the opposite end what is impeding our progress, so that this way the communication is successful. The other end of that communication piece is once we find out what it is that we want to communicate, and then we receive the communication, how we respond to it. I think that sometimes we have this expectation that what we're saying should be felt in a certain way, or it should be responded to in a certain way, especially with relationships. And I think that's such a big thing because, like I said, the mission of my organization is all about changing the narrative of Black women. One of the biggest issues that is with Black women have is perception. So normally I have my stiletto nails on, my hair. Well, my hair is what you know what I'm saying, but I usually have my blonde hair, my makeup. I have a certain physique and a build, and I walk in and I'm perceived to be a basketball wife. Right? Like, oh, she's coming to start trouble because I have a certain look about me. When in all actuality, I'm the peacemaker, and I come with information and tools for success, and it ends up being a perception thing. So sometimes it's not just have you received the communication, but what about the response to your communication? And how do you take no offense? Right? So I'm doing this whole fasting with looking at the book of Ruth, and this morning we were discussing how 3 times, and I don't know how familiar y'all are with the Bible, but in the book of Ruth, the sons died, and these women were left to their own devices, right? Like often us mamas are. And Ruth is the daughter of Naomi. And in 3 times in the scripture that we were covering this morning, Naomi was rejecting Ruth,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about that in terms of communication, how many times have we felt rejected or somebody pushed us back and we stopped communicating?
Yep. Just
Right.
shut down.
We had a
Yeah.
whole charge about what we knew we were supposed to do. We knew God directed us. We're equipped
Right.
with it. We have
Right.
but because someone rejected us, we gave up. And when just looking at the whole Ruth thing with the way Ruth said, and she was relentless about her communication. She said, "No, I'm going to go with you. Where you go, I go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I die." And sometimes it's not just about, have you communicated effectively? Did you receive the information? Whatever. But are you willing to stand on what you communicated?
That
Mm-hmm.
is so, so good. That is so deep. I know people that are literally listening to you right now. I know some of their story, and I know that what you just said, they feel it in their bones.
Oh,
You know
yes.
what I'm
Yes.
saying?
It resonated with them most definitely. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you so, so much for that. That was amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm here to share. Like I said, the goal is always about changing the narrative for Black women, and my rationale for doing that is that in June 2018, I almost didn't have a narrative anymore. I
Right.
had allowed people and situations to go so far into my boundaries that it almost cost me my life.
Right.
So when God allowed me to continue to live and have my being, I knew that there was something greater than me just serving myself. No
Right.
longer the 30-year-old list of, I need a
There you
house,
go.
no, I need to change the narrative, because it's bigger than just me. It's bigger than just my daughters. It's bigger than just what it is that I'm experiencing, because what we find is that our experiences are not isolated. We are
Right.
all humans having a human experience, and I can only do my part. My part is Black women. That's my part. But that doesn't mean we're not connected. It doesn't mean I don't honor the queens that are not Black women. It doesn't mean I don't honor the kings. But we all are connected, and we have these shared experiences. And I find that the biggest thing that I could possibly do is share from what it is that almost cost me my life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
think that that's most impactful, sometimes. And most times it's just being super genuine, letting people know down and dirty what you've gone through and what you've overcame. I think that's where people can connect
Right.
deeply, you
Yeah.
Yes.
know.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, let's see. Wow, that was awesome. All right, so I guess from there, I kind of want to go in another direction, but we're gonna stick with this list for now. Corinne, how do we stay focused? What are some tools of accountability that we can use to achieve our goals?
We have a lot of tools. Usually I host a vision board party, um, where we do the bigger annual kind of vision thing. I love to do mind maps. I don't know if I have a mind map around here, but I love to do mind maps, which are just really good guides at all the stuff bubbling in our heads. So I don't know about you guys, but some mornings I wake up and I'm a TV producer. Other mornings I'm a songstress, and then I'm trying to create a daycare that specifically deals with children with autism. So it's anything could come to mind. So I like to have mind maps so that this way we are not getting off track, but adding these things up, right? So it's like okay, the task may be consulting for this client today, but this came to me and I was inspired by this, so I'll put it on the mind map, so that this way my mind map is always available to me when I do have free time to go back and say, this is what I would like to delve into. But for the most part, I would say the daily activity of staying focused is about your interpersonal skills. You cannot focus on anything until you take care of yourself.
Right.
Right. And that's probably the hardest thing to do as a mom, because we think we're accomplishing so much when
Right.
we take care of our children, right? We cooked
Right.
breakfast, we cleaned up, we made sure the bed's made, we did this, we did that. And that's tasks, those are task lists. We got those tasks done. But have we maintained focus? Did our children see love today? Did they experience an opportunity to engage? Were we able to provide the people around us with something that made them feel connected? So
Right.
I think that being focused for me is right now being able to take care of self, so that when I am engaged, it helps someone. Because you can have a task list and cross off everything on that list, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that focus achieved anything purposeful.
Right. So where do you become selfish versus I need to take care of self before I take care of this, thus, and so? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because
Right.
you got some people that's like, they don't want to get up. They don't want to
Right.
move. Once they
Right.
stop moving, the entire day revolves around them. This is what I want to eat. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. I need to get my nails done. I need to get my hair done. I need to, versus, gosh, I haven't got my hair done in 6 months. Maybe I'll
Right.
get my hair done and go get a pedicure today. You know what I'm saying? So where, how do you feel about that?
The
Selfish,
self-care. Yeah, so
self-care.
so there's a point of self-care, and then there is a selfish person, right? So self-care is a regimen that is maintained on a schedule, the same way you would make sure that your dog or your cat or your house is regularly maintained and clean, is the same way you should identify the experience for yourself. But in terms of being selfish, I don't have an attachment or understanding of it, because I am literally the most selfless person I know. It is almost retarded. I think if somebody who was really selfish came into my life and rubbed my arm, it might bless me.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah.
like, it might bless me, like I need some of that energy. I think that the key is balance, right?
Yeah.
And a selfish person will know themselves, because they will be identified by the people around them. You go ahead and keep acting selfish and see how long people tolerate you. Or if
Right.
they deal with you differently. And I think that's where that balance comes in, of being selfish and then taking self-care. You have to take care of yourself. I honestly, every woman that I've ever encountered, even those who appear to be selfish, they lack self-care, and that's motivated the behavior. Right. So even the diva who's like, my nails, my hair, my this, my that, my right? Usually if you get past that persona, there's some parts of her that she hasn't talked to. There's a little girl who was molested. There's a woman who's been abused. There's a little sister who never felt like she added up to her big sister. There's something inside of her that hasn't been cared for, and she uses those things that seem selfish as a tool to protect herself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll circle back around to that.
Yes, because that's important. A lot of
Yeah.
people's behaviors is based on what's they've gone through, but they're trying to hide it with a different persona. You know what I'm saying? And you never know what people are really going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's always, I think if you stay true to who you are and always be who you are, you'll never have a problem,
Facts.
communicating, and
You,
being able to help.
Shaniqua, I had no idea who I was at all. I walked around most of 40 years, and I had no idea who I was. The world told me, comments on social media told me, my education told me, but nothing inside of me clicked. And I promise you, it wasn't until I faced death that I realized who I was.
Wow.
And I mean, master's degrees and a mother, every adjective that described me included what I did in connection to someone else. My first adjective wasn't me.
Right.
So I think that getting to the place where we know who we are, to stay true to who we are, is like super important. It's like we even getting to that point of like unmasking ourselves. We start wearing masks so young.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We sure
Yep.
do.
We do. Well,
Sometimes they're placed on us, you
exactly. I
know?
was just gonna say that it's something that is inherited.
Mhm.
No disrespect, because I respect everybody's situation, but it's inherited, because maybe you don't, as a parent, you don't know any better. That's the only way you know, because that's the way you're raised, and it just goes on and on and on. And that's why when they say you're trying to break that chain, it's a even harder struggle for you, because you're going against the grain.
Ooh.
Mhm.
So that right there is, I think a lot of people, that's what people give up. That's what
That was,
people give up,
yeah.
and that's why it's like, nah, keep going. Because I'm telling you, it's awesome on the other side. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's the blessing of it all, Jasmine, what's your take on that? Because I see you smiling. I'm seeing that
It's
that
in there.
energy
Beautiful
coming out
smile.
of there. Like, what's your take?
I was smiling I was smiling so big because Corinne, like what you were saying is so true. I spent, also like most of my life. I didn't realize who I was until like the last 3 years, like 3 years ago. Like it didn't click for me. 2017 was the worst year of my life. That was the year where everything clicked for me. And I realized, and I literally have to go back and ask myself, why do you feel this way?
Mhm.
Why aren't you happy? Why do you want because prior to that, I didn't bring anything to the table. And that was 2017. I had a 10-year relationship, and my daughter's dad and we separated. We met, I was in college, like right after high school. Like we met then, like a year, like my sophomore year we met. And I've known him, and we were together for 10 years. So most of that life was attached to this guy. And I knew for sure, I'm a big lover. I have all the love to give. So I knew I was good at that. I knew if I didn't know nothing else, I knew Jasmine can love. And Jasmine is understanding. I understand a lot of things that, most people won't. I can respect a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Even if I don't even get it, I can kind of see your point of view, and I can respect that. We can just find our common ground and just keep it pushing. So I knew I had that in me. And so all these years I'm connected to this guy, and all of my happiness is connected to being a wife and all these things, like hopefully one day, so when all that came crashing down in 2017, I was like stuck. I had nothing. Like I had nothing to fall back on. Like here I am, I have this kid. Like you were saying, your kids make you look at your own life, because I'm the example for her. So it's like, I don't even know myself. Like I can't even be, oh my gosh, I went through a horrible depression. Like how can I be an example for my kid when I am empty on the inside? Like I know nothing about myself. I was molested in the fifth. I had to go back literally in my closet, in my prayer closet, and I had to write down a letter to my 5-year-old self and tell her that it is not your fault. And it is okay. And if that person never apologizes, that is okay. I had to go back, and I had to address my daddy issues. I had to do all that in that closet, in that space. And it just kind of like, it was like a weight that came off of me. It was all that I was carrying, just trying to please and just trying to be good enough. And that was the thing. It was like, why are you so, just, I don't know, just so like craving like a guy thing, or craving love? Like, why do you crave love? So I guess you're a lover, but you're doing it to a point where it's not healthy.
Right.
And I connected it all back, to that 5-year-old little girl. It was that, wanting to be good enough. It was like, oh, you're not good enough because your daddy left you. You're not good enough because, your mom couldn't be, granted, we had everything as a kid. Like we had everything. We didn't want for nothing, but I'm an emotional being. And me being emotional, gifts do nothing for me. You can't give, I can care less about a gift. My love language is quality time. I'm big on it. Gifts are at the bottom for me, whatever. But you know, growing up in that type of environment where you got all the stuff, but you're empty. You know, and so now you're reaching for any and everything. And I remember being all the guys liked it, you know, they liked all the, you know, the ghetto girls. So I was like, all right, I'm about to be all this. I was in school.
Whatever mask you need, I'll put that mask on.
I'll put that mask on. Hey, what's up? I was her, you know, but I was putting on everything. I was just trying to see, like, okay, well, they like that, so let me be that, you know, because I just wanted people to stay. But once I had that moment where everything literally, when literally God said enough was enough, he was tired of my crap. It's like, I'm tired. This is who you are. Let's let go all of that. I'm about to rip it from underneath you. And that's what he did. He ripped everything from underneath me. And he had to show me, and he had to expose to me, this is why you do that. But he was also depositing things inside of my head. Well, he's been depositing things inside of my head for years of who I was. But I kept saying, no way, because I was molested.
Right.
No way, because I was a CD student in school. No way, because my mama said I act like my daddy. No way, you know? So God, and I say all the time, everything I'm doing now is nothing new. This is nothing new that I'm doing. You know, me being, you know, this accountability coach, me having all this, you know, rah about me. This ain't nothing changed.
Right.
But I was afraid to be this because this wasn't cool. This I didn't see a lot of me growing up. You know, even in my household, even to this day, you know, me being me, it was weird. I was always get those comments from my siblings or people, you know, who I grew up in the house with. They were like, I don't know, what's like, that's weird. Like, what are you doing? I spent my years fighting. I spent my years fighting me because it didn't fit into the mold of what everybody else around me was already doing or deemed normal.
Right.
And I always felt like there was something wrong with me. I spent years thinking, no, there's something wrong with you. There's something, stop. Don't do that. But in that closet, in that moment 3 years ago, God showed me there's nothing wrong with you. You made exactly the way I wanted you to be made. Be that. This is all you have. Go with what you have.
Right.
And when I made that decision to go with what I have, I remember looking, I got out of that closet and I remember going inside the bathroom and I looked myself in the mirror and I told myself that I love you. And I began to speak positive things over my life. And I kid you not, ladies, that's the first time I said I love you to myself and I felt it. I believed it. I believed it for myself. So I agree, Corinne. It's crazy how long you go wearing these masks and things of that nature. But when you finally, and I said all the time to people, this is why I share it so much. It was like, no, as soon as you make that decision and that choice to love yourself, just as you are. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm progressing. You know, I'm jacked up as all. You know, I said all the time, I can't do this without God. I am a jack. I can mess up a life. Hello. I can jack it up real good. I can jack this thing up real good. You know, and so, but that keeps me connected to God because I know I didn't get to this point by myself. Absolutely. I know that's that thing that keeps me sane because when you're doing something new, because this is new for me, when you're doing something new, it's easy to fall back into those, you know, habits of 10, 15 years, you know, all your life you've been
the familiar.
Right. You know, and so
comfortability.
Right. I have to constantly tell myself, I gotta catch myself all the time. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Stop playing with me. Wait, hold on, wait, time out, Jay. What's up? What's up with you? You know, I gotta, and that's how I talk to myself. I gotta let myself know, like, you tripping. You tripping? Come back. What we doing?
Come back. Right.
This is what you've done. You know, you are as great as the other women that you're inspired by. Stop doing it. What's up with you? You know what I'm saying?
That was good.
Right there. That was
We look at women and we ooh and ah, and we just go, oh my God, she's this, and we get so inspired, which is nothing wrong with that. But it's to the point that we believe sometimes that we can't achieve that because they got it because this is like, no, they got it.
Jasmine,
you can get it.
Oh my gosh.
Just do it.
You speaking.
But it's the truth, right, ladies? Like, no, we have it in us. And in that closet, in the moment, God showed me with your little, with everything that you've been through, all I need is for you to make a choice. Do you want to be different? Do you want your life to be different? Do you believe that everything I've told you all these years could be? I knew I could do it, but I was like, I don't know how. I have no map how. I ain't never did this before. God, I know I can. I felt it in my gut, ladies. You know, I felt it, for years. It hounded me. My purpose wouldn't leave me. It was chasing me down. It wouldn't leave me alone. It wouldn't let me go. I knew it. But what was holding me back was, God, I don't know how to do this. But I had to tell him that. And as soon as I was real enough to say, bruh, I don't really, I don't know. I hear you, but I don't know how to do this. And that's when he exposed Exodus 4:20 to me. And that's when he showed me. And every time I think about those moments where I don't know how to do this. And I start bringing up these excuses. I remember those words that he told Moses. He was like, I'm going to teach you what to say. I'm going to tell you what to say. And whenever I get discouraged, I repeat those words. It's okay. You know what, God? You said you're going to tell me what to say. I've never ran a business before, but I always knew since I was 8 years old, I wasn't going to work for nobody. I knew that at 8. That I had to create my own path. I've never done it before, but I knew God was going to lead me that way. And it didn't come until I made that choice to love myself, remove that mask, and just go with what I had. So that's why I smiled so big, Corinne, when you said that, because they're just so true. Love yours, figured out. And I'm still figuring out. I figured out that I like flowers.
Oh, which one is your fave?
Yes, what's your fave?
Sunflowers. I like sunflowers. And so on my website, livingwithlittle.com, the I is a sunflower. Okay. I didn't know that. Prior to that, in my relationships, I'm not a gift person. So God would bring me flowers. Like, why you waste your money on that? I don't like flowers. Now I know I like flowers. Bring me flowers.
Bring me flowers.
Perfume.
And sunflowers have so many healing properties. I mean, sunflower oil and so I'm a tulip girl, but I believe in alignment and perfect alignment. And my daughter just sent me. She's 21. She's down at college in Orlando, and she sent me a place that we could go, an adventure, and it was a sunflower field.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, if she say sunflowers, I mean, it's perfect alignment. Let me bring one other point to the forefront with you. Okay. Because we don't know you personally. We've been brought together through Mommas with Commas. Okay. So I'm on social media and I may be in a hashtag, or I may be, looking at different accounts and things of that nature. And I came across you and you jumped out the screen at me. So big ups to you for your energy.
Yes.
But what sealed the deal for me was, after listening to a few of your podcasts, tell me your daughter's name.
Journey.
And the name of I got chills. The name of the company is JourneyRight.
Yes.
So we'll dig a little more into maybe why you made your journey and how.
Right, I want to know. Yeah.
But
it's simple. It's simple. So, growing up, my first love, my love right now is theater. I want to be an actress. That was the goal. I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be famous. And so, the person that I looked up to the most was Journey Smollett. Okay. Growing up. And so I just knew as a kid, I picked out that name when I was a kid. I was like, when I have a baby, my baby gonna be named Journey. But then once I got older,
Jasmine.
you know, it got a second meaning because it was, I would say my journey changed when my journey came. And that was true because my life literally changed. Like everything just started, you know, processing a little bit differently. Like, well, you got a kid now, like, you know, you got to start thinking. So it's like twofold. It's mainly the first one was because I love Journey Smollett. I looked up to her. I wanted to do everything she did. I wanted to act at a young age like she did. But then also, you know, my daughter changed my life. My journey definitely changed when my journey came.
So that's dope. I like that because the word JourneyRight, it's just like I said earlier, just brings it together as far as everyone coming together on their journey, right? And documenting that. So that's dope. I like that. So getting into talking about the journey and visioning your journey and where you would like to go. Question for you on that. How, for someone who is looking to,
I have no
you know,
audio.
put that in order, what they call divine order, line it up, you know, fear is something that's really big right now, right? People are fearful of taking that jump. You know, they may have been where you were, where you had said earlier, you know, they may have lost their job due to this pandemic. Or they may be in a domestic situation and they're afraid to be like, I need to, you know what I mean, take a jump. It could be a whole lot of different things. So, I mean, if you could just kind of give us an example of what you would tell some of your, you know, some of your clients, how to put that vision, how to take that step and have that strength to do so.
One, I'm a just go do it. Just go. I'm that's me. Which bites me in the butt sometimes because sometimes I just go and do it and then I realize, oh wait, time out. You shouldn't have. All right, backtrack. But a lot of times, majority of the times, I would tell my clients, like, especially when they're talking to me, and I can hear the passion in their voice. I literally just tell them, do it. What is stopping you? Do it. Do it. You
But
know?
how, Jasmine?
Right.
I'm so stressed, you know, like, no,
I broke
I just,
that. No,
I have no money. You know, I got kids. I got kids. I'm gonna
Write
throw
it down.
I got kids, and you know, my husband don't. You know what? My husband don't believe in, if it don't make no money, he don't want, you know, or it could, you know, it's just like, because I'm throwing like examples out there where I've known people who literally will believe what someone says to them, and that's blocking their blessing. It's like, hold on, you, like, you know, look what they're doing. What are they doing with themselves? Why are you believing what they're saying? Who are they over your life?
Right.
You know, so
write it down.
Right.
Write it down. Write down what you want.
So that's
and then write down, what do I have? Like, how can I do that right now? Like for me, and when oh my gosh, when I started out, oh my goodness, I had more bills than money. I ain't had no car. My motor had just went out in my car. I didn't have, you know, we just separated in a home. So I'm living in this house now because I didn't want to move. And so I'm in this house paying this high rent, $100 a month on Uber. And I was either walking or taking a bus a mile away from my home to drop my daughter off for school. And since sometimes we would walk because I didn't have enough money to have bus fare. Sometimes I had enough bus fare to get there, and then I just walked them out back to the house. But I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted to, you know, be a coach. I knew I wanted to share my journey, which is why I started doing. And I didn't have anything. I knew I needed the tools, but I didn't have any money to invest in the tools. So I wrote it down. This is what I want to do. You know,
another point that you had made up, and some people won't even say. And I'll scream it from the rooftops, because this is where I learned. You know, I'm very hands-on. I like to be in the field, and I learned from my experiences. Is you end up doing a lot for free when you're first starting. You don't get the money. You know, you may work the 9 to 5 or the 10 to 6 or the whatever to whatever. And then on the weekends, whatever you wrote down, and we're going to jump into what is a vision board next with Miss Corrine, but then we can start attacking little by little by little
Little.
with the little that we have.
That you have, right? So
Mhm.
books was it for me. I didn't have the money to pay anybody to train me. I didn't have the money to pay somebody to build out a website for me.
Mhm.
So we would start taking trips to the library,
Mhm.
and that's all I had. That's all I had. All I had
Mhm.
was time to read books. That's all I had was time. And I tell people all the time, you may not have everything, but you got
Mhm.
something. What are you doing with your time?
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, are you researching? A lot of stuff I do now is because I wrote it out and I was researching back then.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, when the
Have
time
a
comes,
plan.
I was watching a sermon and it said, if somebody came right now and asked you, how much money do you need to be debt free? Would you know the number?
Mm.
Now, to me, that register, it didn't register money to me. To me, it registered if somebody said right now, I will fund your dream, would you have everything in place to get it started? Would you even know? How much does the website cost? How much does the course cost? Do you know?
Mm.
I didn't know. So I just had to figure that out. That's what I had. That's all I had. Literally I just kept doing that over and over and over until I got the money.
Mhm.
You know, and so that's what I tell a lot of my clients now. What do you have right now? I had one client, you know, she didn't have, you know, the money to you know, fly out to do her acting or things of that nature. Okay, so but what do you have right now? Right now, you know, what you need to get your headshots done. But you
Mhm.
said that you don't look the way that you need to look. Okay, so right now I need you to focus on being disciplined. Wake up
Mhm.
every morning. I need you to go work out, go run the track. That's what you
Mhm.
have right now. You're focused on
That's free.
that's free.
Hey, that's
That's
free and that's
free.
real.
You know, because
So you
it's like
literally, I mean, it's math. You broke it
Broke
all
it
the
down.
way down
Yes.
all the way down. Like this
to
is
Right.
what you
build
have
it
right
back up.
now.
And then
Right.
there's some things that you said there that I just wanted to just pinpoint. Consistency. I hear that you know, you
You
have to
gotta
have
work on it.
consistency. I think people get afraid because it doesn't bring in income. You know, if it's a dream and it's something that is going to make you happy, it's got to be consistent so that it can become something that you can definitely build income off of. You
Right.
can't, it's not going to happen overnight. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? And different things of that nature. So that's one thing that I hear, you know, consistency that is definitely key and
Right.
into achieving, you know, that goal.
And you and
So
you and you don't and you can't be afraid to because it feels so stupid. You're gonna feel stupid, you're gonna feel dumb, you're gonna feel like you're doing it for nothing, like, oh, I'm just doing this, I'm just spinning my wheels. It's gonna feel weird. It's gonna be so it felt so once a lot reading these books I ain't never read before about business and you know all these self-development things. Like I was learning stuff I've never heard of this. It just felt so weird.
Right.
But you know, you continue to do it and you just know what the end goal is. And if you don't do it, it's like I would never get there. You know, we all start somewhere. It all feels funny, you know, but just using what you have at the moment to get there is key. And just continue to keep doing those things. And that client actually, she finally got her headshots done.
Good.
When she called me, she was so happy because she was I'm so excited because I wouldn't have started working out because I was so gung ho on just the bigger picture,
Right.
gotta
getting the
take
money.
steps.
She was
Yeah.
so focused on the money that she didn't realize, wait a minute, while I'm waiting on the money to line up, I could be developing my relationship with God right now. I could be working on my consistency with my, you know, my workout plan. I could be eating better.
Right.
That was her job. That became her job. That's what I'm doing right now.
Mm.
And so when all those other things start falling into place, she was ready.
Well, she
So
wasn't ready before, so you got to
nope,
get ready
she
so
wasn't.
that can attract you. You can't chase it. It's got to come, baby. You
Right.
can't, you know what I mean? So but you know, but that's definitely a key for people to be, you know, consistent and be able to focus on what they need to accomplish. You know, and don't make excuses. You know,
Right.
use what you got, you know.
Use
Right.
what you have. I'm telling you,
I'm
figure it
not.
out.
I'm the worst
With
one to ever give an excuse. I think that I usually trick people when they come to me with excuses. Like you can never give me an excuse. And as you know, I've often been referred to as the blonde head bitch. Because it's like, well, who does this blonde hair bitch think she is, telling me what I could do? She doesn't know what it's like, because I usually work in impoverished communities. I'm usually in areas where people live in public housing, or they're, you know, I'm
right.
in a lot of, when I'm doing that end of the work, and I'm not doing these fancy dancy events trying to change the narrative. But a lot of the change in narrative comes from working directly with the people. And so,
Boots on
like,
the
I took
ground.
a, right, it's on the ground. A lot of women that I have coached and I've worked with, I've
Mm-hmm.
met in the most obscure places, and where they are right now is amazing, right?
Mhm.
So I never begrudge a humble beginning, because like you said, is doing a lot with a little. It's all about stewardship, right? So
Mm-hmm.
ultimately the goal is about knowing how to manage what you have. And the Bible refers oftentimes that if you be a good steward over little, I'll make you ruler over much. So
Mhm.
it's not just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of, I only have one child. Well, what are you doing with that one child you have? Or I only have $1. Well, what did you do with that $1? So, you know, I think that's where the combination is not just a matter of consistency, but character, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
competency. So when Jasmine talks about going to the library and getting a book, the book built competency, so that when she did meet with the day of opportunity, she would be competent enough to hold the
Yep.
conversation, to be able to proceed what it is with her purpose and her dream, right?
Yep.
So too many of us are so worried about the finances, but we wouldn't know what to do if we got it anyway, because we aren't good stewards.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Right.
to be humble and willing to learn. You know, I was told
Yeah.
I think I was maybe 21. I was working at the bank and I get these big checks, you know, I was feeling all, I can go in the BMW dealership and get a BMW. I mean, like, why not? I can afford this. And this black guy, he walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I'm like, "I'm here to get the whatever BMW." He was like, "Honey, you gotta crawl before you walk." You ain't even gonna look at my credit score. You ain't gonna even check my bank stuff.
So calm
So,
down.
you know, that broke me down for years.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
my God.
just that alone. But I do want to share. I went ahead and typed it in the comments. Just to kind of sum that up, is a servant is a master in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a quote that I have lived with for years upon years upon years. And it served such a great purpose in my life, because it gave me purpose when I was serving and kind of felt taken advantage of, or when I felt less than, that I'm powerful and my day will come. And I also want to draw a point to when you said you were reading those books and you didn't really understand, it just felt weird. I've been in that situation too, where information was coming at me and it was kind of an information overload and I didn't really know how to process it, but it went where it needed to go. And that's called feeding or fueling the spirit
Mm-hmm.
or the
Mm-hmm.
soul. It goes where it needs to go and it stores and it reserves itself until it's time to pour it out.
Right.
Come out.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
Yes.
Right.
like down in your belly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Yes.
down
Yes.
in your soul.
Yes.
And it just comes forth. And you know, for me, having so much formal education, um, it a lot of people will have the perception like, well, you don't have to fumble for it, right? And the reality is that I was in special education until the fifth grade. I didn't know how to read until I was in the fifth grade. So every single degree and every small amount of information, I had to struggle for it. And I had to learn how to think in a way that served me. And what I realized is that information was power. And even though it felt weird, it felt uncomfortable, it felt like I wasn't prepared. I was the only Black girl in the room. I was the youngest woman in the room. I was always the oddball out. I just knew that something, even when I didn't know myself, I knew there was something inside of me that was meant to be in that space. And I had enough courage to kind of just speak up. So when I meet with people, mostly with women who are in a deficit in themselves and they're trying to find themselves, it's real easy for me to point out, like, I understand. It don't look at who you see right now and think that I don't get it. I've always looked for somebody who was like me, and I never found her, so I decided to be her.
Y'all hear that?
I couldn't find her, so I decided to be her. You know, I was like, because I would look and because I just kept popping out these babies. I mean, I had all these babies. I had 4 babies by 25. And, you know, when I got my bachelor's degree, I finished my final exam with my 4 babies lined up against the classroom door outside, because I was going through a divorce during that time. And my classmates were rotating while I finished my final exams. And so for me, every accomplishment has felt like me doing a marathon. It wasn't, nothing was given to me. So when someone says I can't, you can't tell me an excuse of why you can't. Every excuse that you could come up with, I could give you 5 for why I shouldn't be who I am, but I am her. So that means that God is not a respecter person. If he did it for me, he will do it for you. There is nothing stopping you except for your language. You are talking yourself out of your success.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Let me pop in with this quote or lyric from Nipsey Hussle. Y'all gonna feel this. Dedication, hard work plus patience. The sum of all my sacrifice. I'm done waiting. I'm done waiting. Told y'all that I wasn't playing. So we break that down. Dedication, hard work plus patience. I'm going to say it again. The sum of all my sacrifice. I'm done waiting. I'm done waiting. I told y'all that I wasn't playing. You get it done. And whoever is the naysayers, you go ahead and you show them otherwise. You show and you prove.
Shout out to
Exactly.
Nipsey Hussle, by the way. Rest in peace.
Yes.
I love Nipsey. Nipsey is before everything happened tragically with him, I will watch his interviews, and which is another reason why I share, because sharing helped me. And so, but watching him and seeing that he literally made it off like the curb, like he literally came from the bottom and created this thing and had so many roadblocks in between. And that was so motivational for me. And just like so many other stories that I've seen. I love hustle. So even more alignment. Then you talk about alignment when we talk about Journey and the sunflowers, and then you've thrown in Nipsey. Oh, it's all there.
He's definitely a tool, a vessel. He definitely was. I think that there's a lot of things that were undertone there, and people didn't pick up on it, but he was one of those that, you know, put it out there in the music. And you know, that's where the line of communication and things and comprehension. I think comprehension is a big thing as well for us.
Yes, that's another C.
Yes, but you know, I think there was a post that says sometimes we listen to react, but we don't listen to comprehend. You know, we're so busy to jump and react and not really listen to the content and understand, you know. And if you can't be able to do that, then how are you going to be able to teach? How are you going to be able to be a mentor and things of that nature? So for me, kind of to sum up about as far as the vision board and things of that nature, for me, the vision board helps me speak it into existence, period. Every day I look up, I see that vision and I'm working towards that vision. And as things I accomplish, I put like a little check mark on things that, because you can see the progression. I think people need to realize that it's not going to happen overnight. As Nipsey said, you know, it's dedication. And then when you have consistency, you have dedication. But it's going to be some struggle. There's going to be things that are going to put in your way. There's going to be things like, as a mother, your kids are going to get sick. There are going to be things that you're going to stay up all night. But guess what? You got to get up and get to work or take that exam or do what you got to do in the morning, because it's never going to stop. Because once you stop, everything stops. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, too, you know, we have to support each other as women. Okay. I think that as minority women, we're not protected. Okay. And I'm just going to be honest and put it out there. They don't protect us. We're the ones that everybody behind us, and we fighting our way through. All right, it's clear. And then you can walk. That's just how we are, and but we are perceived as aggressive. We have attitudes, but when you look at the bigger picture, we're having to handle and take care of everything and still be graceful, humble, respectful, not cursing you out. Now, if we have to, we will go there, but we're still at that level where we're versatile and we're able to. It's kind of like we're flexible. We got all these arms and all of these things, but we're still having to maintain this face, mask. So I think that overall for me, that's what helps. That vision just helps me to keep going and know that I'm working towards the ultimate goal. And you got to definitely, to me, I'm a visual. If you see it and you speak it into existence, it definitely will come into the forefront. You definitely don't want to keep speaking negative energy. You don't want to keep speaking negative about yourself, because you're going to believe it. Then the people around you believe it. And then you wonder why your relationships fall and crumble, because they're believing what you're putting out there, what you're projecting, what you're saying. That's what attracted them to you. Period. What you put out is what you attract. So if you're negative about yourself, you insecure, you're going to attract those people, and you may attract somebody who may take advantage of you because they know you're insecure. They know certain things about you. So I just, I think that, it's good that we have these talks, because don't feel alone, and you know that there are other women that are going through the same things, and it's okay. It's okay to go and talk to someone. It's okay. It's not taboo. We're not crazy. Okay. We just need an outlet, and support,
Well, we need
with
objectivity. Yeah, we need
yes.
objectivity. And so with my background, I was director of mental health supports for many years. And, one of the things that people struggle with is that, especially in religion and stuff like that, is that everything is not a spirit. Some things are mental illness, right? Everything's not a spirit. Some people are actually struggling with trauma, and it's real. And being that, like, I think it's like 3 out of 4 Black women have suffered sexual assault. That is trauma on an ultimate interpersonal level, and nobody's dealing with it. And then there are after effects that are left from it. And then we are expected to, like you said, put on a mask. I don't put on a mask for anybody. I walk into boardrooms, I'm with the politicians, and I am Corrine all day, every day. I don't change. I don't change my voice. I don't change my appetite. My cadence doesn't change. I am a Black woman. Hear me roar. If I feel aggressive to you, then step back. But I'm not going to stop being me. I'm no longer. I did that for a period of time where even in the church experience, I felt like I needed to water it down. Well, guess what? When I get up and I praise, my booty claps, and I'm not going to praise any less harder because it makes you uncomfortable. It's not. I'm not going to do it because it's like that need to conform has created a space where we are uncomfortable in every place where we should feel relieved, or we should be blessed, or we should be prosperous. And so one of the things that I've gotten from that is that when once I got to the place where I'm like, nah, I'm valuable just as I am. I am accepted. I accept me. And if you don't accept me, that's on you. If you feel like I make you uncomfortable when I walk into the church knowing what I know, because I'm not going to back down. I don't care that I'm a woman. I know the word, okay? And I know how to praise, and I know how to love God, and I know what I feel in my soul and my spirit. And I'm sorry if it makes other people uncomfortable. That's between you and God. You go home and pray about it. I'm not modifying. Because there had come a point where I modified so much that I resented the church, and it was my block in my blessing, right? So the thing is that the Bible often says, it says in John 3, we want to prosper us as he prospers our soul. So while we do have to start from somewhere, I do believe that once we get to a place where we value ourselves, we no longer allow people to have access to us without income for us.
Okay. Can we say that again?
That is so true.
That's true.
So we have to. One of the queens, she made up this slogan last year. The prophets prosper, Like we have to equate our presence with value, and our value system is monetary. So a conversation with me is expensive
Mhm.
because I know
Yeah.
what I bring to the table. And
Right.
even though, you know, I expect a lot out of people that I work with, it's not a measure of always an economic thing, but there always should be some kind of mutually beneficial thing happening, some kind of exchange that is occurring. So there will be those people that come into your life where they may not have the resources to pay you the $100 an hour for their business consult or whatever the case.
Right.
But I promise you, the same woman that tells you that she cannot give you a deposit for her business plan is the same one that spent $250 for her box braids. So I feel as though it's a measure of what they value. If you don't value what I bring to you, that's fine. Continue to do what you've been doing. I hope it works out. But there is someone out there who will
There you
value
go.
you. And so for
Exactly.
all the women and the people who are in business, understand that you have to make sure you value yourself. And sometimes valuing yourself means to go without. Right.
Mhm.
So I've had to go without a partner. I've had to go without sex. I've had to go without food. I've had to go without shelter sometimes because I had to come to a place where I value myself enough to not put myself in compromising situations with people who do not value me.
Mhm.
I
Exactly.
was
So when you go
Oh
ahead.
wait,
Go ahead, Jasmine.
no. I was gonna say, finish what you're saying, because what I'm saying is touching back on what you said, Nick, about speaking negative over yourself. So finish, Corinne.
So yeah, so basically when we start talking about the vision for ourselves, we can't have a clear vision for ourselves until we value ourselves, right? So if you envision yourself as your vision, if all you're eating is McDonald's, your vision board is going to be McDonald's, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so you have to feed yourself the things that are going to serve you, and then you have to also be okay with letting go with the things that don't serve you anymore.
Right.
And so for me, I know that there are different things that have been in my life that didn't serve me. Even how I treated and respected myself, it didn't serve me. So I had to modify and adjust those things. So when I'm working with myself or someone else, I often look at the life areas, because one life area, like mental health, like physical health, can be so detrimental to the bigger plan that the plan doesn't even matter. You can have all the budget in the world, you can have all the knowledge and competencies and consistency, but if you have an underlying medical condition, or if you're struggling with depression that's untreated and you don't have a therapist, you're not going to succeed. So I think that being real with yourself and really evaluating all your different life areas, like you could want to be a person who's a counselor, but the reality is that you require a license, so you have to get a
Right.
certain amount of education. So we're not going to play games with things that we shouldn't play games with. It
Games with. Right.
infuriates me when I watch these people like Derek Jackson and so on and so forth, and they get online and they start spouting off about narcissism like it is not a mental health disorder. You have no idea what narcissism is. You're not qualified to have this conversation, right?
Mhm.
So for me, being a qualified mental health professional, I look at things and I often will wait to speak because I don't want to overstep boundaries. But then again, I see people who are just all over the place giving opinions about things that are medical disorders, and it's not okay. So I think that we do have to be mindful of the fact that even if let's say we're not crazy, but if we're struggling with someone, we should go and get an assessment and make sure that there isn't an underlying clinical thing that needs to be treated by a professional.
Right.
And do it early, and do it early. I'm just going to sum it up on that. Just do it early, because what happens is once they get to a certain age in their life, if they don't accept it, it's hard for them to accept to get the help, you know.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, if you get the earlier the better to detect, for them to get the assistance that they need. What was you going to say,
Right.
Toya? I'm sorry.
I just want, yeah. So, where would one begin? So if you're listening to this broadcast right now and you're like, gosh, I do have some issues, you know, I do need a therapist, I do need to talk to someone. Let me call my general, you know, doctor. You go to the doctor, you're like, I think I need to talk to a therapist, you know, can you refer me? I know a lot of doctors will say, well, let's start you on this medication. What do you got anxiety? Do you have depression? You can't sleep at night, and they're throwing all these different medications at you. And all you want to, and then you're like, well, all I wanted to do was talk to somebody. So Corinne, with your background, like, I don't know.
Hold on now, sister. Hold on, brother.
Where would you guide someone that's listening to our chat tonight that they felt they needed to speak with a professional for therapy?
So it's so interesting because I remember when I was pregnant with my third child, I was suffering from depression really bad during the pregnancy. I was homeless and I had been abused really bad. My brother was shot, and my second brother was shot. My cousin was murdered. I was depressed, right? And I remember going to speak to a counselor and like a case manager, and they was doing a general assessment. I was like, 23, 24, I was young. And she said, well, do you want a pill? And I said, will the pill bring my cousin back? Will it take my brother out of ICU? Will it stop me from being homeless? And she said, no, but it'll make you, I said, feel what? She said, numb. I said, that's not what I need right now. What I learned in that process was that, and I'm not against medication at all, but what I learned in that process was a therapy that I later come to know as a professional called reality therapy, right? And sometimes just dealing with the harsh reality that a pill can't fix what it is that your circumstances is creating you to feel. It is a change in actions and decisions that changes the way you feel. So if someone is struggling right now, there is a lot of help, especially going on with the COVID, that you can contact your local 311 and you can call for mental health support, and they'll be able to do telephonic, just like we're doing right now, but in a private, confidential way. And I think that it's important for us to find someone that we can speak to that is a professional, who is objective, who will not step on your toes. The last thing a person who may be suffering from anxiety right now needs is a friend or a loved one or a family member or a significant other telling them it's not that big of a deal, because everything that we are experiencing right now feels like a big deal. And if someone actually has clinical anxiety and they are suffering from depression or something like that, you need no one to minimize what it is you're experiencing. You don't need another theory about radiation and it's not COVID, or you don't need anybody else's theory. You have enough stuff bombarding you and your brain is talking to you constantly. So it is great to have someone that you can go to that will be able to provide an objective ear to listen to, because most of the time we have the answers that we need for everything that we struggle with inside of ourselves, right? It's just that we need to find it. We need to discover it. I think it was Socrates that spoke about the cave, and he said that we're born knowing everything that we need to know. And somewhere in childbirth we forget it, right? So for many of us, we have this instinct, that unction in your spirit, Jasmine, that said, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. We all have that thing in ourselves that knows what it is we need, but we may need to filter it and process it. And until it comes out your head and out of your mouth, it can't come to life in a new direction. So even though we want to be positive, I think sometimes the need to be positive becomes so daunting that you feel like if you say what's in your head, you're going against yourself. But sometimes you need to get it out of here, so that this way you can change the narrative. You can't change a narrative that you never wrote.
For me, about being positive, when I spent years downing myself and talking bad about myself and just being negative, I literally, I had to Google nice things to say. That was a Google search for me, and I went through the list and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like me. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, that's good. Let me write that one down. And I wrote all the ones down that I like. I had nothing to pull from You know, and you hear it all the time. People just say, you know, well, just be positive and think positive thoughts. And I'm like, well, thanks. I don't even know how to do that. I ain't never spoke positive about myself.
Right.
You
I
know,
haven't even heard anybody else speak positive about me.
There you go.
I don't even know what's that like.
When did somebody say something? Right.
So I literally, ladies, I literally put that inside of Google, and like I said, once again, it was one of those moments where it felt silly, like, oh my gosh, are you really about to do this? Like, yes, I'm really about to do this, because I was so serious. I knew I just wanted something different, and I knew I wanted my life to change, and I knew I had to, you know, have something or equip myself with, you know, positive things to combat those negative thoughts. You know, because the negative was heavy. Like, that's all I knew. All I knew was what everybody was telling me. All I knew was what I was telling myself, and just, you know, just doing these things. So I literally had to Google that. And my very first vision board, I put those things on there, you know? And I just started placing those things, and throughout that year, I kept reading it, you know? And that's why I love vision boards so much. And I boards before plenty of times, but this was the first time in 2017 that I actually, you know, did, you know, and I actually believed it.
That's the thing. Believe it. Yeah.
Validated yourself.
Right. And it was actually the first one that I made that made sense. Oh, listen, I had a vision board, y'all, one time. They had a yacht on it. It had all kinds of just extravagant. Now, granted, that's what I want eventually, but that didn't make sense for the year. Yeah. You know, for that year, Jasmine, that's why it never got done, because it was like, Jasmine, there's no way you're going to get a yacht this year. What are you talking about? You know,
but I think that's important. Having feasibility with, you know, context with our goal building.
Right.
So, you, even going back to one of the original questions about goal building, when I work with a client, or I'm looking at my own experiences or whatever the case, the first thing that I do is make a goal that is SMART. Right. So SMART is an acronym for I forget, you know, how many years have I been teaching this stuff? So SMART stands for measurable. You want it to be, I can't remember right now, but nonetheless,
you're gonna share it. You want it in the comments.
Right. So you want a goal that's measurable, that's achievable, that you can portion off, right? So your goal may be, your big vision may be, I'm gonna have a multi-billion-dollar consulting agency, and that's nice. But what's a measurable goal that you can have? And you may have multiple goals, but in order to achieve a goal, it has to be measurable, it has to be realistic, it has to have feasibility. And then for each goal, I break down the objectives, right? Because a goal, while it may be lofty, may not, if it doesn't have objectives that add up to it, then the goal is not a goal at all. It's just something that you're putting out. It's the yacht. Right. We don't want a bunch of yachts in our lives. We want goals that produce something, right? So that this way we could go get a yacht. So the objectives come. And then once you have identified your objectives, I try to stick with 3 objectives after a goal. Then I would use 3 strategies to get me to each objective after that. So if, let's say, the goal is to improve my mental health, right? The first objective would be to find a provider. The second objective would be to explore medication management. The third objective would be to reduce stressors and triggers, right? And then under each one of those, I would have a strategy. So let's say to reduce stressors and triggers, my strategy would be to meditate before I go to bed at night, and to listen to meditation music, to wake up and not drink coffee because caffeine is really sucky for a person who's struggling mentally, and to have a cup of tea and honey, and to do things more organic. And my third strategy may be to do yoga 3 times a week. You don't want to say an hour and a half every day or whatever the case, because that's not feasible. It's not realistic. So you want to make sure that, you know, so you may do that one area, that one objective, and it might help you to reduce the goal. The goal would be to improve the mental health. So even though you may not be completely without sad days, you would have reduced it a little bit. Maybe your sad day is half as much as it used to be, you know, or even simple things like going outside, go outside, walk until you can
Right.
feel the sun. So there are little things that we can do, but ultimately we need to have a more comprehensive plan so that goals that are in front of us are achievable. Otherwise, we start to feel like failures, which reiterates what we've already been told by society, by community, by our families, and by ourselves. So if we don't learn how to properly construct goals,
Right.
then we become exactly what it is that we are upset about. And
Right.
we are that.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think it's also good to have, when you set those goals, to also have like an accountability partner.
Right.
It's like a real accountability partner, you know, someone that would really care and not just like be on you like in a hard way, but just kind of let you know, like, so you don't forget, because life gets busy and we forget.
Right.
You know, we just forget.
You know,
And
this is my biggest accountability partner. My books.
Okay.
Yeah, these are my accountability partners. My phone. As a super single mama. And I say it like that because, you know, I know a lot of women are moms and they're singles, but that it's a different tone. Like there's no parent partners, co-partners, child support, mamas, grandmamas. It's me and these kids, and they're dope and I love them. So there isn't necessarily accountability partner towards me and my goals. It's me. So you have to sometimes learn how to suffice, because if you continually look outside yourself for something that you need, you will find yourself in lack unless you are able to pay for a person like me, and I am for hire. But nonetheless, you know, for the most part, we have to learn how to manage internally, because when we continually look for people who are already in our existing environment to be accountable for us, they probably perpetuate the exact things that got us in the situation that we're in right now. So they probably aren't going to be able to help us. As well intended as our best friends and our good girlfriends are, they not necessarily have the ability to be accountable to themselves. So how then can they in turn be accountable to someone else? So what I often find is that when I start looking for my accountability outside of myself, I fail. Because I become daunted by the people outside of me, and why don't they find this enthusiastic, and why aren't they getting excited? Because everybody doesn't have the spirit of entrepreneurialism, and I have to understand that that is my unique gift that God gave me. So when I come up with an idea of let's do the Medicaid billing, let's do the daycare, my friends are burned out.
Right.
They're not gonna hold me accountable, because they've heard me come up with our business every 6 months for the past 20 years.
But see, I also think that just comes with it. Like, and I definitely understand. I literally just posted about that the other day on my Twitter. I said, you know, a lot of your plans fell through because you told people. And it's not that people literally stopped you physically, but it's because when you told, the reaction wasn't the same. So you got discouraged and you second guessed yourself. And so now you no longer want to do it. But I do agree. Like, I have friends that I know I cannot tell stuff. I know who I can tell certain things to, who I can't tell things. I have a homegirl right now that I love talking to her. You know, when we talk business, we both get to like be, oh my gosh, we have, when it comes to business, like, that's my girl. Because I'm the doer and she's my planner. Like, she's good at writing stuff. Like, she can get it out of me and like get it across the table very professionally. Like, that's my girl. So we really kind of keep each other in line to a certain extent. Because sometimes, and just through time and just life, really knowing, sometimes you won't have that friend there. Right. Sometimes they will be burnt out with you. Sometimes, hell, I'm burnt out with them. I don't want to hear that. Okay, what you gonna do? Like, I'm that person. After a while, I'm gonna rah you. But after a while, child, if you come to me one more time about a solution, I'm gonna smack you. not but like, I get there sometimes. You know, I'm human. You know, understand. I'm very I keep that in my mind when I go to people about certain things I know, and just life in general has taught me how to be there for myself and hold myself accountable. You know, when I can feel those things in me. There's like, okay, you know, so-and-so's not there, or like, what are you doing right now? You know, are you waiting on somebody to remind you? Like, or, you know, and then that's when I had those real talks with myself, like, girl, please get up. Come on, stop playing. Let's go. What are you doing?
I love your self-talk.
Yes,
I love your
It's
self-talk.
power. And I
Like,
think
I
a lot
need
of
you to sit
people,
right here. Yeah.
yeah, when they observe that in you, they're blown away when you're able to kind of just motivate yourself and gear yourself in the right direction. Of course, it comes with a lot of experience, a lot of friends, a lot of, you know, paid therapies or sponsorships or whatever we have gone through. But to be able to have that self-motivation to be able to get the job done, it's so powerful. We've been on the chat for about an hour and 34
It
minutes.
don't
Believe it
like
or
it,
not.
though.
And I could literally sit on here, but I swear if I see one of y'all yawn, I'm gonna be like, oh no.
I know.
So let us try to wrap up this conversation, and we may need to have a part two. We're seeing that more and more often
Yes.
with our guests and just the information that we have that we can share. But I want to spit another quote, if you will, from the great Kobe Bryant. The most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. And we're all mothers. And I know one of our kind of highlights that we spoke about to build up to this chat, even on our posts, and when we were telling people what this chat was going to be about, was our vision boards. And Corinne, I'll gear this question to you, or kind of this statement, if you could just kind of give us your feedback on it. Our vision boards start off very personal. There's something that we create, they're our personal goals, and we're achieving them day by day. But what I noticed, that vision board, that one vision board that I created, that I really believed, that I knew I was putting realistic, achievable goals on it, not only was I marking things off, but my children were too. They noticed what I accomplished, and then it planted a seed in them, and it gave them this superpower and this awareness and this encouragement and this knowledge about how to achieve goals. So what's your experience with that, Corinne, in your household with your children specifically?
So it's so interesting because like people come in contact with my kids and it's just like there's no, first of all, when you come to my house, it's like there's 6 kids here, there's how many kids? Because at one point in time I had 9 kids in my house, right? And because I had taken my 4 nieces for about 2 years. And it was crazy because when they were removed from their home and when the case managers and child protective services would come and they see the porcelain and the table set and everything, they were confused, like, wait a minute, but where are the kids? And they're quiet. My children have taken on the role of my executive team. They were raised, like I said, they were babies when I went and got my bachelor's, and then they were a little older, and then I still had babies when I got my first master's, and then I had a little baby when I got my second master's. So with my children, they have always owned the responsibility of being my CFO and my CEO and executive and the general, and you're the this and you're the that, and everybody always owned these experiences and these titles. And I remember when my oldest was about 11 and I made a mission for our family. I made a mission statement for our family because we had to be better than anything else that we had seen or experienced. And so with my children, especially with the Queendom, I find that they are so enthusiastic. My oldest daughter had a modeling contract and she no longer pursued it. And I was like, well, what's going on? She said, I decided that the models are just the end results of the designers. So she went and bought, she created an LLC, a EIN, a website, a Shopify. She has garment racks, sewing machines. Like she literally has built her business. She spent time on her logo and she never consulted me because she is that equipped at 19 years old to be able to do that. My oldest son has a rap career. He was like, I'm building the social media, I'm doing this. I throw concerts too. So he's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And at first he's like, I don't want you to be my manager, because he needed to do it on his own. And then he came back and he's like, wait a minute, mommy, what I realized is I have to pay my rent, my car note, my car insurance, my this and that first. I just crossed these things off my list, but I want a Gucci belt and a Givenchy shirt. And it's just like, boy, but the process of goal setting is so embedded in them, and even with their career choices and how they feel, and construct things around them. The littlest one, the 6-year-old, she told me yesterday, she's no longer participating in remote learning.
Okay.
And so I said,
what we gonna
yeah,
do?
you kind of have to. And she said, I said, your teacher's waiting for you on the Zoom. She has to teach you. And she said, this is where the problem lies. And I'm like, what? And she's like, a teacher, they do what? And I said, teach. And she said, see, but if I know everything, why would I need a teacher? And I'm like, okay, so you're 6 and you don't know everything. She said, but I can read. So anything that I need to know, I can learn by myself. I don't need a teacher. So it's just like this sense of confidence that most people don't get until later in life. My children own it. Their sense of self is so strong. Their sense of self-care is so strong, and they've watched me goal build to the point that there have been times where my whole dining room and kitchen have been covered in dry erase boards or markers, and I'm writing these plans, and they see people coming in and out the house. So their ability to interact with the world and interface with the world is at a far higher pace than most of the people I see at their same age, and their sense of resiliency, because they've seen me fall and get back up. They've seen me fall and get back up. So their sense of resiliency and their stableness is so interesting. It's really, I'm very proud of who they are as people, because ultimately they really care deeply about other people, but they also know how to make a plan and stick it out. My oldest son is like, I'm going to be, if I don't have like you said, name it, right? If I don't have $120,000 in my pocket by January 4th, what? Like, what are we talking about? And it's just like, he's clear about the dollar amount. And that came from when he was 16. He said, I'm going to be a rapper. I'm going to be rich. And I said, well, what is rich? Quantify it. Identify it. What is rich? So many of our young people are walking around saying that they're going to be something, but they haven't quantified it. They don't know what that looks like. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What are you wearing? How do you see yourself? And that's where the vision board, just to tie it all back, comes in at, is that they've been able to see a mom go from not having a job or being homeless or going through abusive relationships, that literally put on a vision board my body. I was like, nope, my body's going to look like this. Saying my body's going to look like this. I'm going to have this kind of car. I'm going to live here. I cut out what the bedroom looked like. Any area that I knew that I needed to grow, I gave a visual to it. And then I turned back around and wrote goals attached to it. And then I broke that stuff down. And those kids have seen their mom be from the most broke down state that you would think that I could never get back up. And I mean, sometimes they had to come and save me, because, like my stories, I went through 12 years of extreme abuse. I suffered 13 broken bones, more stitches than you could count, 5 crushed teeth. Every bone in my face has been broken. So my children had to witness that on my physical self. And so it were points in time where they had to snap me out of it. Like, hold on, you didn't come through all that to let this break you. Get up. So they have an internal resolve that's like, my mom is undefeatable and so am I. And they also seem to think that my debit card works through magic.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
most definitely, yeah.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you guys. Hold on, where'd you go?
Uh-oh.
Let's try mic
I
check.
can't hear you.
We'll
Can
try
you
a
hear
mic
me?
check. Okay, this is what you can do. We tried this in the last show or the last chat. I'm gonna log you off and come back in. I'm gonna log her off and then we'll bring her back in. Can you hear us now?
Nope, nothing.
Oh,
I don't know. Why is it doing that?
well, we can hear you. Well, she can't
Nothing.
hear me.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear? I guess. Hello. Uh-oh. This happened last time, right?
Yeah. Oh, now that took her off. Let's see. She probably took herself off. And then she can add. Let's see if we can get her back on. While we're waiting for Corinne, okay, here she goes. Let's see. Can you hear us?
Nope, not even.
No.
Nothing.
Okay. Bear with me 1 second.
Wait.
1 second. Like I said, we've been on here for a minute. I don't want to hold y'all up. We're gonna have to probably reconvene. But Jasmine, I just want to draw attention to your podcast and specifically your mothers and leadership episode. You had me in tears, and we probably need to have just a whole conversation about that. When you got to a point where you became so emotional and you began to be emotional on the podcast live, and you were like, oh, this is going to be so much air. I was like, don't apologize. Like, I'm talking to you like, girl, don't apologize. It could be silent. Just let's work through this. You are not alone, darling. Like, we all are in this together, and our stories are so similar. And we cross these different paths, and we encounter these different roadblocks, and we're all trying to fight with the tools that we have to get ourselves to the next level. So I just want to encourage you. We're going to stay connected.
Yes.
And I want to say it out loud so that the folks that are watching and that's going to watch the YouTube and just this information will continue to share. I want them to know how important that episode was and how real you were, and that it was amazing.
Toya, listen, after I did that, I lost my job the next week.
Oh, so that was right before COVID?
So that was right before, I lost my job like a week and a half before, COVID was happening. That's when everybody was talking about it, but we wasn't seeing the impact of it just yet.
Right.
But when I did that podcast, I had just, I was heated about my manager. And like I said, I've always known I was an entrepreneur since I was 8. Mm-hmm. And at the time in my mind, I was already working my way out. I was planning. My job became, the thing that I did to fund, and so I was planning that, and I had my plan. I'm going to do this for like this year, and then next year I'm going to, just really start to weed my way out. Well, God was like, all right, sis, we're going to shoot you out right now.
You're done.
Yeah. And I really wasn't, when it happened, I was smiling. They was looking at me like I was crazy. I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is awesome. They were like, what? You're getting what? We're letting you go. But on that podcast, I was up to here.
You could hear it. You could feel it.
I was hot because it and that's my why. I don't like being boxed in, and I don't like having to choose between being a mother and being successful.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like my experience was, you either have to choose between making more money and, having that lifestyle. I don't want to be like lavishly just over the top. I want to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to buy, healthy food and eat right. I want to be able to invest in my daughter's singing lessons and piano. And I want to invest in her. I want to have that money to do that. But I also want to be able to be there at the piano lesson. I want to be at the recital. I want to draw. My daughter loves to dance, and granted, if I could pay for a crew, we can pay for it, but who gonna drop you off?
Right.
They got to figure that out. So I don't like having to choose between the two. And in the job that I was in, I had just transferred over to management, which I thought, outside looking in, if I get inside of management, I have more control. I can schedule more and things of that nature. And that's what I told my employer up front. I made sure that if I was going to move from where I was, it was going to be a shift. It's going to be things changed, And so they agreed. And then like after my 90 days, it was like, so look, we going to need you to do this. And I was like, whoa,
right.
I can't. And so I did it. I was still new. I did it. Changes. And then after a year, And then that year you learn that in management, you people up there, the high top people, they're calling all the shots. You do nothing. You do nothing but take the orders and bring it down to the people. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge people person. So I'm seeing these people that I'm working with, my team and my staff, and I'm like, y'all, we can't work like this. Yeah. We don't have the right, you're not giving us the right supplies to, do what we need. We need more of this. We need a bigger budget. You know, we need more hours to work with. I can't work with these hours, you're hurting my team.
Right.
And that's where I am. I'm with the people. They was like, well, my paperwork says this. And I was just like, F your paperwork. It ain't, you stressing my folk out, And these are families. And it's like, if with these little hours and with things of that nature, I'm seeing these people come to me and talk to me about how they're struggling because of this. And I'm really in the middle, and I don't like that. Right. I don't like that. The way my heart is set up, I want to be in a place where I can, when I'm doing something, it's really helping somebody. I don't play into that nasty politics. I hate it with a passion. The politics, I hate it. I think it's so nasty. So on the podcast, I was fed up with it. I had just talked to my boss, and he was being very, this is the job. This is what you signed up for. And he's always talked in that way of, you got to choose between, you took the job,
right.
I was also noticing the males who were fathers, they could call out for a sick child. They could say they're not doing something because of their child. They could say whatever. And it was like, okay.
But it was different when it was the mama.
It was different when it was mom. And it made me feel bad because I'm like, oh my God, like my daughter would be sick and I would drug her up like real good and send her butt back to school. Cause I'm already called out twice in a row. Like, they're going to be looking at me funny, or they're going to be, I just felt so like eyes were on me. One, I'm Black, in that area. So I'm really like, okay, you don't want to be the Black girl always calling out and you got your kid and then Like, I just felt so much whatever. And just so many remarks was made in that position. I just knew that that's not where I needed to be.
Right.
I thought that's where I needed to be. And actually, that was a prayer a year prior. That was a prayer. I prayed for that position. In one season, that position was an answered prayer. It was clear to me, God answered this prayer. He opened that door for me. But once I was in it, I realized, I was like, I know what you did there, sir.
You learned so much so rapidly, and so many different things spoke to your spirit and your heart. And that will be another tool that when you already have a business, but whenever you continue on with your business and in engaging with other people, coaching other people, you'll be able to be more empathetic, sympathetic, and real with them. And it was a real life situation that was placed before you. It happens every day in corporate America.
Right.
They don't care. And you were able you were able to go through it, get what you needed, and keep going. And that was amazing.
And that's what it was. And that's exactly what it was. And I understood. I was like, oh God, I see what you're doing there. Because honestly, and that's what pushed me into where I am now. Because if it wasn't for that, I'll still have been waiting, on the edge, going, all right, are we there?
When do I go? When do I go?
But that had me so fed up that I was ready. I was ready, but I wasn't ready. I was ready to a certain extent, but then he was like, all right, no, you're ready now. I'm like,
here I go.
But sometimes those things have to happen, to push people in order to make a move. And I think that with this whole pandemic, I think that this was definitely an example of what can happen and how we're dispensable. There's no humanity. And that I would hope that people will look at this and definitely take this time to know who you are. Definitely take some time to accept who you are, have peace within yourself. Don't worry about what everything else is. If you have peace within yourself, know your worth. Stay consistent. Have accountability.
Plan things out.
Yes, and plan things out, and don't have realistic goals in your vision. I mean, yes, not to say yes. If you want that yacht, yes, you can get that yacht,
You can
but
get
Right.
it,
there is
girl.
stepping
Right.
stones to that
Right.
position. Okay,
I'll
you're
never
not
tell
gonna
you to
go
crawl before you
from
walk, but
you
we gonna
ain't going
step stone.
from the fucking PJ, excuse my French, to
Right.
the yacht. Now you might,
Right.
I'm not knocking nobody who gets to that point and however you do it.
Right,
Right.
But we're just talking, realistically here. We want
right.
everybody to be able to achieve what you set out to do and what
Absolutely.
what you're supposed to do, what the
Right.
ultimate goal is for you
Your
on this earth.
purpose.
Your purpose. There you
Your
go.
purpose.
Your purpose.
And all of that is possible. All of that is possible with everything that you have, with your little,
With
right
your
where you
little.
are. Make the
Mhm.
choice. That's all you have to do is make a decision that, okay, this is what I'm going to do,
Yes.
and we just figure it out from there. And just have that relationship with God. That's literally all you need. Kid you
Gotcha.
not.
And
Thank
I
you
Kid
just
you
so
not.
much. Thank you
That's
so
all
much.
you
We
I
we lost
guess we lost
Corinne,
Corinne. I
but
guess we
we
lost.
want before we sign off, Corinne, we lost you, but you were an amazing,
Awesome.
amazing
Yes.
need. Yes.
contribution to this conversation. We appreciate your wisdom, your knowledge, your realness, your
We'll have
real
to
life
do it again.
experiences. And yeah, we'll be in touch with you super soon. Jasmine, we'll keep in touch with you too. We're gonna keep pushing, living with little. I want people to tune in and check that out. And Shaniqua and I were on a mission. We will keep going with Mamas with Commas. It's
Yes.
Yes,
spreading
y'all,
this
this is
good,
so
good.
cool. Congratulations
Thank
on your
you
fifth show. Y'all
so
keep it up.
much.
Thank
Thank
Keep it
you
up.
so
you. Thank
much.
you. It's
Yes.
definitely something that, just to kind of sum it up really quickly, we have been talking about this for a while, and
Yeah.
2014.
2014, and we I think we are blessed to have the same type of energy, right? Because
Mhm.
we understand it's like we could call each other and just go in, and it's not a thing. And I think that's why it kind of flows the way it does. And we
Mhm.
wanted to create a space for others like that.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
when you kept saying, you know, people thought you were weird and stuff like that, that's how we thought. That's
Yep.
exactly how we thought. That's how we really
The
connected on a
misfit.
real, yes.
Yes.
So I was feeling you on that. So
Yeah.
just to kind of say to everybody, listen, you know, everything that we put into fruition, as we put into existence, we say put it into the universe, it came through. It didn't come through when we was expecting it to, but it came right on time. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And it's definitely been hard work put into it, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of different other things that we could discuss on another time.
Yeah.
but it's definitely a blessing. And I want to thank
Yes.
everybody, yourself, Jasmine, Corinne, previous guest hosts that we've had on our live chat, our JourneyRight family. It's definitely been a blessing, and we are very appreciative. And we love you all, and we hope that you guys learn something from this and let you know that we are here for you. We are here to support each other, uplift each other, and help each other grow. Most definitely.
And if
Yes.
we're ever in Houston, we're gonna dial you up, girl. You can show us around. My
Yes.
daughter's dying to get to
Yes.
Houston. So
Oh wow. I got Brooklyn on my vision board for this year, but we ain't
Okay.
going.
Hey, you know,
2021. It's not, don't, it can still
listen.
happen.
Don't knock it. Don't knock it. I'm a still New York in my heart as always. So, and I'm always back and forth anyway. Those are where
Mhm.
my children are. So in my family, that's like, that's where home is.
Yeah.
VA second home. So,
Yeah.
that's where my heart is, so 2021, most definitely,
Yeah.
it'll be a better time. It'll be a
Better
better
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
Get to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yes. Hit us up when you ready to go. You're like, all right, I'm gonna be up there. Will you be there? Then we know Corinne's there full time. So
Yeah.
show you the city,
Right.
girl. Well, have a
Awesome.
good night, darling, and we
All
will talk to you soon. Check in
Yes.
with you soon,
right.
and thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ladies. This is completely awesome. Thank y'all for listening. Oh,
And
y'all are in this chat going.
yes.
Thank you so much.
All
We'll
righty,
talk to you
guys.
soon. Have a great night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right.
All
So,
right.
guys, we're going to go ahead and just wrap up. This is the longest chat we've had. What an intense,
Intense.
amazing
It was really good. I mean, I think that it was definitely something that we need to have a part two
chat.
of. I think it's definitely something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
It's just things that we always talk about that I think was important, and people now know that there's others like them. So,
Yes.
and I just want to
Yes.
look at we had some great comments. I don't know if guys are still in, watching, but just want to shout out Jessica Thomas, Mama Bolden, Talisha, let's see, Tiffany,
Mhm.
um, let's see, Jessica, Tiffany, Talisha. They were really really active with us, interactive with us during our chat. And Crystal Thomas.
Mhm.
Um, let's see, who else? Did I miss somebody,
I
Toya?
think Patrice,
Okay. All
she was
right.
in there. Brittany was on with us for Mother's Day, so she popped in and listened in on some of the chat. And Tiffany, my sister, she came through in the clutch with the breakdown of SMART for Corinne. So S is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is relevant, and T is time based. So when goal building, utilizing those steps,
Yes. And
will be
encourage
great.
yourself.
Mhm.
Encourage yourself. I mean, that I just think that there was a lot of gems, some major keys that were thrown out
So
there,
many, so many.
that I think was really important. I mean, I loved just one of the takeaways. I loved when Jasmine said she had to Google positive words.
Yep,
Now that was deep to
yep,
me, because when you look back just as a parent, and just on certain things, speaking, putting positive energy into your children, people around you,
mhm,
and to not know one positive word and have to Google it, which was, I'm just saying, not to knock her, I'm just saying, was just mind boggling to show you the different types of things, not opportunities, different types of situations out there where people are not understanding what really positive energy is.
absolutely. Yeah, and I'll make a mention. Something that really stuck out to me was Corinne's mission statement for her family. It's been so many
Yes.
times that I signed up to work at different jobs, and you're reading through their handbook and you get to that page and they're going over what their mission statement is, and you're supposed to remember it, and you're supposed
Right.
to live by it while you're on the property and so forth. But to I would like to challenge you guys to create a mission statement for your family. um
Yes.
Put it on a vision board, or just some words to live by, encouraging words that what does your family stand for? So I just thought that was super, super powerful. And
Yeah,
I
most
thank her for sharing
definitely.
that with us.
And
So
we're definitely are going to share some information with you guys on how to contact the ladies, the guests that were joining us today. They have great organizations, that I would definitely reach out to them if you see a need for their services. I'm both young ladies did discuss that they would do things, over the telephone. You don't physically have to be located in Houston or in Brooklyn, New York. So I would, definitely reach out to those young ladies. They definitely have some awesome organizations, with some great resources that would definitely be a great help to people who need their resources at the time.
yes, and we have shared that in our post, and we will also attach how to contact them with in the comments with the chat. And the final thing that I wanted to make mention was, she wasn't on the chat tonight, but she's having a really interesting event, online event on this Sunday. It's called a virtual pause event. It's learning about breath work, so to reduce stress, to reduce anxiety, to build with other women. It's the busy LA girl. I'm gonna put her awesome. We'll do a couple posts and we'll put her information in the comments, but you can actually reserve a space, a virtual space with her for this Sunday at 12 p.m. And join me because I've already reserved my space. If you're interested, I'm all about breath work. Even when it comes to yoga, I'm like, do I get to breathe? It should be a really cool event. So we'll post that and you guys consider joining her. She's out of LA and she's doing an online event. So cool,
That's
cool.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Get
Um,
the info out.
I guess yeah, that's pretty much I hope you guys were able to get some good um information on vision. Um and I know that it works. That's all I have to tell you. I mean,
Stick
when
with
I
it.
tell you, I I mean, I don't know if you guys can see but these are our notes right here. This is how it all goes down.
I got
And
that.
yes, yay. Let's talk about that really quickly, Toy. Let's talk about the retreat really quickly.
So the retreat was actually one of the first goals for JourneyRight. And we're still getting there. We're still getting there, but we want to do a retreat. I think I spoke on it maybe on our chat 1.0. But the retreat will either be here in Florida or we'll be in Virginia. We haven't decided on a location yet. We have just begun to explore locations right when COVID hit. So this will be something that we probably will be looking at for 2021 or early 2022, but sooner than later.
Mhm.
You guys just stay tuned. The idea of the retreat is to create a safe space for us to come as women for a couple of days and just relax, rejuvenate, have some of these same women that have been sharing online in real life with us. And just connect, share, and have fun activities.
Right.
So it's something that we're really looking forward to, not just for ourselves, but for our daughters, for our friends, families, and for our JourneyRight family. So please, please, please stay tuned.
Yes.
It is on
Yes.
the vision board. It's
It
on the vision
definitely
board.
is. And it's definitely a great opportunity to network. Great opportunity to
Yes,
network with other women of the same. We're all one,
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
And then we do have one other event. I'm gonna keep mention it. We have it's going to be on our live chat with a special guest, but for Toya's big birthday. I don't know if I want to say it
Yes.
out loud, but big birthday, and it's going to be in October. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted and things of that nature. But it's definitely going to be a treat. So but yes, so I'm so excited you guys joined us today. Was
Thank
there
y'all so
anything
much.
else that we forgot, Toy? Is there something else that I can't remember if there was anything else that we wanted to share really quickly? I want to, I think you had mentioned this is our fifth
I bet
podcast.
that.
So
Yes.
we're so super excited about that because let me tell you guys really quickly, the first podcast that we did, Toy and I pushed through that, okay?
Mhm.
Because we were like, should we not? We was like that fear thing that came in and we kind of took that fear and threw it out the window, jumped right on in, and we've been on a roll ever since. So that's why, I definitely want to share that energy with you guys,
Yes.
right? To, if you got it and you manifest it, go with it.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. Just act. Just put the action in there and you got it. So you guys have a wonderful night.
Evening. Yes.
We've truly been blessed with this conversation and we thank you guys for tuning in and we will see you guys next Friday with we got a couple amazing chats lined up. Good information. So stick with us, y'all.
Yes.
We'll see
Bye.
y'all
Good night.
soon.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.